And last year we talked about our vision for the future of education, our perspective on that, Education 2020. You guys remember these 6 trends that we talked about. And these 6 trends are truly shaping our industry. They're not just trends or concepts for us. They really foot the strategy that we established. And we've been working really hard over the last 12 months to execute against that strategy, execute against these trends. We're going to show you a lot of ways that we've done that, a bunch of things that we're doing and that we've done and we've accomplished. But first I want to share a viewpoint. And there's something that's become very clear to us as we've been going through the last 12 months and executing against this Education 2020 vision. It's a view that's really shaped our thinking. Simply put, the education system is not responding fast enough to the 6 trends I just showed you, and specifically around engaging students and driving appropriate outcomes. That's our view. Remember Joey Ito's portable polygraph brain activity thing that he showed yesterday, if you all recall from the main stage, and how there was a flat line in the classroom for that student, and the student actually had more brain activity even in relaxation state. That's concerning, right? Let's look at some of the evidence that points to the conclusion that I just mentioned. In a survey that we sponsored with Project Tomorrow, 1 out of every 4 students are motivated to learn because they like their school experience. 1 out of every 4. So conversely, that means 3 out of every 4 students are not experiencing a good classroom environment, are not enjoying their school experience, and therefore aren't motivated to learn. School is not an engaging environment right now generally for students. In our K-12 system, today we have more than 75% of kids in the 12 to 17-year-old demographic that own a mobile device. Yet far too little content and instructional activity is being delivered and is occurring through that important medium. We need to engage these students digitally in the way they prefer to be engaged, more and more. Another survey from a McKinsey study showed that 1 out of every 3 college students, 1 out of every 3, feel that education is preparing them well for jobs and then life. 1 out of every 3. Again, 2 out of every 3 don't. Now that's a problem, because most higher ed students expect their higher education experience to lead them to a job or a career. But our education system is not producing enough grads with the right skills and with the right focus. Consider this. 11 million people unemployed in this country, in the US, 11 million. But 4 million jobs remain unfilled in the United States. Most of these jobs require some level of specific skills that are clearly not being produced, or at least the perception is they're not being produced by our higher education system. It's not just a problem in the US. This is a worldwide phenomenon. 75 million people, 75 million young people sit today without jobs in the world. Yet 57% of employers say they can't find enough entry-level candidates. This is the definition of a skills gap, right? I mean, this is a huge issue facing not just the US, but our world. And not only does it represent a huge cost to learners and to individual learners and certainly to employers, but also to societies and to our macro economies. It's causing people to question the very value proposition of getting a formal education. And we see that in the media, and I was going to say newspapers, but I don't think anybody reads newspapers anymore. But we see that in a lot of the discussion in the industry. Because the question that people are calling is very valid, because the raison d'etre, the reason for being of schools at all levels, is to manage students, impart learning, and deliver appropriate outcomes, including skills and ultimately jobs. And capacity is about to explode. We're about to see a mass expansion of capacity in higher education, which could overwhelm an already deficient system and make things a whole lot worse. 100 million more learners are coming into our systems over the next decade. 100 million more learners worldwide. This puts a lot of pressure on the systems that exist right now, and the institutions that are already facing huge challenges. Challenges around attracting and retaining students. Challenges around improving education quality and ultimately outcomes, like I discussed. And then ultimately the challenge of demonstrating the return on investment that education represents. At Blackboard, we see a different future for education. One that puts the learner at the center of the process. One that helps instructors and institutions create a completely different experience for the learner. Because at Blackboard, we're trying to align to your needs and partner with you, with your focus on the learners, to help you drive change and to help you evolve into the next generation. It's about creating a better education system for learners of all kinds. And I'll tell you, the reason, it's pretty simple for us. The reason we're so focused on learners is if we do a better job at that, we believe you and your institutions will be better positioned to really attack and achieve your parallel mission of attracting, retaining, and engaging students, and ultimately helping to create for them a better educational experience. In order to do this, everybody in this room, everybody involved in education, needs to contribute to a different future by fundamentally reimagining education. This is the core belief that's driving our strategy. It's driving our company. It's our core philosophy. We at Blackboard believe this so strongly that we've made it our mission statement for the company: reimagine education. The key to reimagining education, in our view, is putting the learner first. It's putting the learner at the center of the process.